Hi everyone. Good morning from Los Angeles. It is a beautiful Sunday. Actually, it is Palm Sunday. So happy Palm Sunday if you are celebrating that. And today we are going to talk about forgiveness. It is not intentional, it's coincidental, but I guess it is not an accident that I am talking about forgiveness during this season. So while I am going to talk about forgiveness, if any thoughts or questions that comes to mind, please feel free to use the chat box and I will go over them afterward. So let's just dive right into it. Now, deciding when to forgive and forget or not is a deeply personal matter. It makes sense to forgive and forget for minor offenses like when it is inconsequential with minimal harm, like someone accidentally stepping on your toes or someone bumped into you. But when it comes to bigger and more complex situations, we need to take context into consideration, such as the nature of the relationship and the impact of the wrongdoing. Let's look at 5 key aspects of forgiveness and what it really means before you decide whether to forgive someone in your life. Number 1, forgiveness is self-empowerment. When you forgive someone, it means you're letting go of your hurt and anger. This doesn't mean that the person who has harmed you wins. It means you are not allowing them to continue hurting you. It's about you taking back control of your life, freeing yourself from lingering anger and resentment. This is particularly true when they continue to have an emotional hold on you while they may be out there living their best life without giving you a second thought. So forgiveness is less about condoning what was done or you are doing it for their sake, and more about allowing yourself to move forward towards your own personal peace and emotional healing. Number 2, forgiveness repairs relationship. In cases where the relationship is really important to you and the wrongdoing is not characteristic of the person's typical behavior, forgiveness can help repair your relationship and emotional healing. It's about understanding that we all make mistakes and recognizing the value of the bond is not broken by the wrongdoing. Instead, it could be an opportunity for the both of you to strengthen the connection as you work towards rebuilding trust in your relationship. Number 3 is mental health improvement. Letting go of grudges and bitterness can have a significant positive impact on your mental health. It reduces stress, anxiety, and even depression. It is unloading this emotional burden that has been weighing you down, similar to dropping a heavy backpack that you've been carrying around. Number 4, forgiveness promotes compassion. Forgiveness fosters a culture of empathy and compassion, where mistakes are seen as opportunities for growth rather than reasons for punishment. Especially when the person who wronged you shows genuine remorse, take full responsibility for their actions, and make an effort to make amends. Number 5, personal growth. Deciding to forgive can help you grow. It teaches you to let go of negative feelings that might be holding you back from being happy or trying new things. Forgiveness helps you move forward instead of staying stuck in the past and dwelling on what went wrong. It takes a great deal of strength, courage, grace, and compassion to forgive. So don't you dare believe that forgiveness is a sign of weakness or defeat, not even for a second. Forgiveness requires emotional resilience to let go of hurt, anger, and resentment, particularly in the face of significant betrayal and challenges. There are several misconceptions about forgiveness that I believe is important for me to address. I think it's the main reason why many people hesitate at the idea of forgiving someone. There is this idea that forgiveness means you are telling the person who has wronged you that what they have done to you is okay, or that you are required to automatically trust them again. This is false. Forgiveness is not overlooking harmful actions. Forgiveness does not equate to excusing, enabling, condoning, or absolving someone of their harmful behavior, particularly if such behavior is repetitive and shows a pattern of disrespect or abuse. Remembering past offenses is crucial in these instances, not for holding grudges, but for safeguarding yourself from against future harm. So true forgiveness means recognizing how these actions have seriously affected you, but not allowing them to keep happening again. Number 2, it is not ignoring unresolved issues. Forgiveness is not about adopting a forgive and forget mentality that pushes unresolved issues under the rug, pretending they don't exist. Genuine healing and reconciliation require open and honest communication about the hurt that happened. Addressing these issues head-on is necessary, especially when there is a need to rebuild trust within the relationship. For example, when there is infidelity in the relationship, it is crucial to address what happened and what needs to change. Forgiveness involves confronting the pain, not avoiding it. Number 3, forgiveness is not an instant re-establishment of trust. Admitting wrongdoing and expressing remorse are important steps, but they do not automatically restore trust. Rebuilding trust is a gradual process that demands consistent effort, concrete behavior changes over time. Trust is re-earned through consistent actions that demonstrate considerations, respect, and understanding, helping the person who has been hurt regain confidence in you and their footing in the relationship. Forgiveness opens the door to this possibility, but it does not guarantee immediate trust. For example, if you have a coworker who takes your idea and pass it off as their own frequently, you can forgive them, and you may even give them the benefit of doubt that they are not doing it intentionally. However, it doesn't mean that you should trust them with your ideas going forward. Number 4, forgiveness is not dependent on the other person's actions or apologies. Getting an apology can help you forgive. It makes it easier, but it's not always necessary. Forgiveness is a personal decision that you can take for your own peace and healing, regardless of whether the other person acknowledges their wrongdoing or expresses remorse. And number 5, forgiveness is not synonymous with reconciliation. Choosing to forgive someone does not obligate you to re-enter or continue a relationship with them. It is possible to forgive someone and still choose to maintain a distance or end the relationship altogether. Forgiveness is about letting go of grudges and bitterness for your own well-being, not necessarily about maintaining connections with those who have caused you harm. There's one crucial act that I cannot leave out when talking about forgiveness, and that is the forgiveness of self. It involves releasing yourself from the burden of guilt and shame associated with your own mistakes or failure. Even if it means acknowledging your choice to see the best in the person who wronged you and trusting them at the time. Just as forgiving others can lead to emotional healing and personal growth, forgiving yourself is essential for inner peace and self-acceptance. And forgiveness is often a process rather than a singular moment. It requires time and effort to work through your feelings of hurt, anger, betrayal, and many others. Expecting forgiveness to immediately resolve all emotional turmoil is unrealistic and can lead to more disappointment and even further misunderstanding. There is no one-size-fits-all approach to forgiveness. The process looks different for everyone, depending on your own personal values, the nature of the offense, and the relationship between you and the other person. So don't expect your journey of forgiveness to be the same as anyone else around you. Embrace your own path and pace towards healing and reconciliation. Keep in mind, it is okay for your process to be different from anyone's expectations or even societal norms. That said, here are 5 concrete and practical steps for you to consider on this path of forgiveness. Number 1 is reflect on the situation. Take the time to think about the incident that caused you harm. Try to understand the context of the other person's actions and consider any internal or possibly external factors that might have influenced their behavior. This doesn't excuse their behavior, but it can help you understand it better. And then, honestly admit to yourself what part, not the whole thing, what part in the incident, why you did what you did, and what could you have done differently, if any. Try to understand the reasons and motivation behind your action can help address deeper issues, preventing future mistakes. Avoiding or denying your mistakes only prolong the pain and hinder the forgiveness process. Number 2, forgiveness is a choice. Is deciding that you want to release the the negative feelings toward the person who wronged you, as well as towards yourself, for your own peace of mind and emotional well-being. Number 3, express your feelings. When someone wronged you, it is important to acknowledge and express your feelings. Whether it's through writing, art, or a conversation with trusted friends or a therapist, recognizing your emotions is a critical step towards healing. And if your actions hurt others, find a way to sincerely apologize and make amends. This step is crucial for healing both your own guilt and the pain of others. Number 4, learn from the experience. Identify any lessons that you can learn from what happened. This might include setting boundaries, recognizing red flags, or understanding your own needs better. Going back to the infidelity example, were there certain needs that went unmet that you need to address with one another? Use this knowledge to avoid making the same mistakes in the future and empower yourself to grow. Number 5, let go and move on. Actively deciding to let go of grudges and bitterness. This might involve a symbolic gesture like writing a letter and burn it, or simply making a firm decision in your heart. Moving on means focusing on your own growth and happiness rather than dwelling on past hurts. Recognizing that everyone makes mistakes and allow yourself to move forward without being weighted down by the guilt, shame, or self-blame. These steps do not necessarily work in a linear order. You may need to revisit each one multiple times on a regular basis. Forgiveness, whether of others or of yourself, is a daily practice of an active reminder of your decision to forgive, patience to work through your emotions, and a commitment to a healing and growth process. The hurt and anger will not automatically disappear overnight just because you made a decision to forgive. So I would say be patient, be compassionate, give grace, and forgive, but remember the lessons. Now, try that and subscribe for more. And I am going to go over the chat box to see. I do agree, it is very hard to forgive. Do you have any tips on how to get your mindset to the place of forgiveness? It is a tough decision, but it is a decision and it's a choice. And what you can ask yourself and remind yourself of is, this person has already done me harm, has hurt me a great deal, and they may not recognize their doing. They may not even care of their doing. They may be out there living their best life, and you are still being impacted by their wrongdoing, and you are still allowing them to have this emotional hold of you. So the question is, do you want to have them to continue to have control of you, your life, your happiness, and your well-being? And I think the answer is quite clear, that most likely none of us would want to have someone has an emotional hold on us. So ask yourself that question and remind yourself that you deserve happiness. And you're not going to allow someone to continue to have control of you and your emotion. What do you do when someone continuously brings up a singular past mistake that you made and refuse it to let go of it? Did they really forgive you if they continue to bring it up? That's a great question. Now, that opened up two folds. Number one is usually if someone who continue to bring up their a past mistake, that means that the issue hasn't been addressed for them for one reason or another. So you may have to ask yourself, why is this person keep bringing this up? It's like a broken record, but it is a reason for it. Did you hold yourself accountable? Did you recount and take responsibility of your part and make sincere apologize? And ask the person. You can ask, what is the reason that you keep bringing this up? What is it that is still unresolved for you that I can help address? Because I know that when it comes to past mistakes, it is tough to take ownership of our own wrongdoing. But it's even tougher for someone to, let's say, didn't feel heard or understood when they expressed their pain to you. Because, sometimes when we are not able to take ownership because we have our own guilt, we may become defensive and become dismissive of the other person's hurt. And so maybe that's something you may want to consider. And to answer your other questions, did they really forgive if they keep bringing it up? Forgiveness, again, is not an automatic disappearance of the issues. You can make a decision to forgive and still need to address the situation of what happened so that you can avoid and prevent that from happening again. Is there a difference between forgiving someone in the work setting? I think that it is going back to the context and the impact. The forgiveness is the same because it is about you letting go of the hurt, the anger, the pain that have been inflicted on you. But when it comes to, let's say, a work setting, the relationship may be different from, let's say, a family or romantic relationship. There's more depth to it. And so in forgiveness of a work setting, you may forgive and you may want to consider keeping a certain level of distance, setting up different kind of boundaries. Like going back to the example earlier I mentioned, let's say someone who's at work who frequently takes your ideas and pass off at their own and take credit. You may have a conversation with them because they may not aware of what they're doing. And if they acknowledge that and make an effort not to do it again, then you can say, okay, this is great. This is someone that you can deepen that relationship and foster that growth. But let's say you bring it up and someone become defensive, ignore you and continue to do it, then it would be best because at that time having a conversation is probably not going to do anything, but that would be best for you to set boundary for yourself, knowing that, hey, if I have a great idea, I may share some of it, but I'm not going to disclose the whole thing where they're going to take the credit. So that's where you end up have to set a boundaries and maintain a healthy level of distance to protect yourself. Well, we are at about that time. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today. And um, actually, I was gonna say look forward to seeing you next week, but the next 3 weeks I will be out. And so we will still have videos posted on a regular basis, but I will be back on the week of April 17th, whichever that Sunday is. And so I hope you make the most of your day, be kind to yourself and others. And I'll talk to you soon.